So today's gospel is a very familiar story, the parable of the Good Samaritan. We've heard it so often that we often think there's nothing new to learn from it. Since we hear this parable so often, we may often identify with the same story, the same person in the story each time. I think we often identify with the Good Samaritan, the helper, the hero of the story. We like to see ourselves as the one helping the traveler who has been beaten up and left for dead. It feels good to see ourselves as the helper, the compassionate one, the one doing and showing mercy to the one who has been beaten up. We like being hero of the story. So what if today we hear this parable anew? What if we hear it as if it was the first time we heard it? What if we hear it not as the helper, but as being the one who needs help? What if we are the one in the ditch? What if we are the one who is beaten up, robbed, and left to die in the ditch? Being in the ditch means being dependent, being vulnerable, being helpless. It means that you are dependent upon someone else helping you. You are vulnerable to someone else to be compassionate to you or not. That's uncomfortable. It can go against our grain. We prefer to be self-sufficient, to be independent, not needing help from anyone, to be able to just help ourselves. But true mercy often comes when we are out of options. True compassion often comes when we don't choose who will respond to us. So who would show us mercy at that moment? Who would show us compassion if we were in the ditch? Now, in Jesus' time, the idea of a Samaritan as the hero of the story was shocking. Jews and Samaritans hated each other. There were deep divisions between them. Jews and Samaritans hated each other during the time of Jesus because of deep historical, religious, and political divisions. After the Assyrian conquest in the 8th century BC, Samaritans, the descendants of Israelites left behind, intermarried with foreigners and developed different religious practices, including worshiping at Mount Gerizim instead of Jerusalem. Jews saw Samaritans as impure and heretical, while Samaritans viewed Jews as rejecting their legitimate claim to Israelite heritage. This centuries-long hostility led to deep mutual animosity by Jesus' time. The result of this hatred between the Jews and the Samaritans was social, religious, and cultural separation. They avoided contact with each other. They refused to worship together, and they often treated each other with open hostility. Jews would bypass Samaritan territory when traveling, and both groups saw each other as unclean or heretical. This division reinforced prejudice and mistrust on both sides. So Jesus deliberately made the most disliked, the most distrusted person the one who shows compassion. For the Samaritan to be the one to show mercy, the one to show compassion, to be the hero in this parable, was a big deal. It was a huge, radical deal. I think if we are in the ditch, it makes us confront a few questions. Who would be the most disliked, most distrusted person for us? Who in our lives today would be someone with whom there would be great prejudice and division between us? Mercy is often encountered when we have no other option, when we are in such desperate need, we have to accept the person and the assistance they provide because we have no other option. If Jesus were telling this parable today, who would be the hero of the story? Just as the Samaritan was the hero in the parable of Jesus' time. Who would be the most disliked, most distrusted person whom Jesus would cast in the role of the hero, in the role of the Good Samaritan? Who is the Samaritan for you? Who would show you mercy and compassion when you have no other options? Immigrants? LGBTQ people? MAGA supporters? The poor? The disabled? Democrats? People of color? Transgender youth? The elderly? Republicans? The homeless? Who is our Samaritan? Who is our outcast? Who are we most prejudiced against? Who are we most divided from? Who is cast as the hero in our parable of today? You see, history has always been about insiders and outsiders. We create categories of insiders versus outsiders all the time. We label people as not like us, outside our group, or even our enemies. But Jesus is clear. In beloved community, there are no outsiders. No Jew or Greek, slave or free, male or female. No exceptions. No outsiders. If we are followers of Jesus, that's his whole point. No exceptions. There are no insiders, no outsiders. And our baptismal covenant commits us to this truth. If we are true to our baptismal covenant vows, there are no insiders or outsiders. Yet every generation defines insiders and outsiders differently. The pendulum of history continues to swing. Empire and society will continue to forge insiders and outsiders. But no matter what society does, we are called to dismantle these boundaries. And if we're honest with ourselves, if we're a follower of Jesus, there can't be insiders or outsiders. So who is the Samaritan for you? Who would you struggle to receive help from? Who are you still labeling, even subconsciously? You see, I think once we recognize the Samaritan in our own life, once we stop labeling others and start loving without exception, once we break down the boundaries and labels of who is an insider, who is an outsider, once we understand that for ourselves, then hear Jesus say, "Go and do likewise."